Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome to another premiere draft of Gauntlet stumbling his way through Powered Cube. Without further ado, let's see what we want to grab for our pack one, pick one here. Looks like a pretty sweet pack overall. Very safe pick of a Windswept Heath. We could grab that to play with a bunch of duels and triumphs and stuff, and this can grab basically whatever color we need, whatever deck we play. So that's the most flexible card. There's also Carnage Interpreter, which seems great in aggro decks, like Mono Red or something like that. Play this as your last creature, boom, that's a 5/5 menace with a slow draw 4 attached with all those clues. Displacer Kitten can do fun combo-y stuff with any of the really big mana rocks that add a bunch of mana. Emperor of Bones is a really good, really consistent Reanimator card. It's a wombo combo with Survival of the Fittest, where you discard your big reanimation card, tutor out the Emperor, and then reanimate whatever you discarded. Or there's like consistent blue draw with Consult. I think I'm going to go Emperor Bones here. It's my favorite of those options. Pick number 2, we could go pretty deep on Reanimator, taking Recurring Nightmare now. This is a card where you do need to have a creature on board to use it, but it is 3 mana. Reanimate the best creature from your grave to your battlefield. And it is potentially repeatable as well. So if you have like the persisting Reanimator target, like Woodfall Primus or something, you can then recast this the next turn and sack the Primus to reanimate somebody else. Persist them out. There's also like the Dream aggro card. Got a lot of comments about this. Once again, thank you very much to everybody commenting during these powered/vintage cube drafts, because I am very much still learning. So now I know Broadside Bombardiers is actually like the best aggro card ever, because now I have fully read it. I just saw like 3 mana 2/2 menace haste and a commander set symbol. I was like, okay, whatever. But the Boast allows you to sack another creature, artifact, and deal damage equal to 2 plus the mana value to any target. So you could sack even just like a Mox in the late game to do 2 to anything, but you have like a 4-drop aggro creature, and you finish your opponent off with 6 to the face pretty easily. So I'm actually going to go Bombardiers here, even though I did start with a Reanimator target. Or not a Reanimator target, a reanimation spell. This is like a really, really good aggro card, and we'll stay a little bit open by taking that. Pick number 3 is almost definitely Demonic Tutor, which goes back towards that potentially more combo-y, more reanimate path to take. Although Goblin Bombardment's a fine card for aggro. There's also Woodfall Primus if we want to get one of those big reanimation targets. But I think Demonic Tutor is really flexible and powerful. Pick number 4, there's Entomb. So we could have Entomb and Tutor and Emperor. Broadside Bombardiers may not be the path we end up taking here. Pick 5, reasonable removal for a heavy black deck like Dam or Shieldred's Edicts. It's basically what this entire pack is like reasonable interaction. There's Zurin Orb for Titania combos. I had no idea what this was doing in the cube, and then now I've seen Titania combos, so now I know. Yeah, I mean, we just take the on-color interaction, right? I don't think we're trying to do like Sorin flip stuff. But Sorin could be pretty gross. I think I'm just going to go Edict here. Easiest to cast interaction. Pick 6. Kolagon's Command, if we play both of these colors, could be pretty powerful. There's a lot of really busted artifacts, so it's pretty easy to just blow up an artifact and make your opponent discard a card as kind of the baseline. But there's also plenty of cheap creatures to blow up. I think Kolagon's Command's pretty sweet. You can make yourself discard a card if we go Rakdos Reanimator, which would be really weird, but I guess possible. Pick 7. There's a Lurrus and a Lutri. So, I mean, we can take Lutri and play it no matter what. We take Lurrus. Every permanent in our deck has to be mana value 2 or less. So we can't play Reanimator Lurrus. That's just not a thing. So if we take Lurrus, we're not playing Entomb, Emperor, or Bombardiers unless we just play it main deck instead of companion slot. Does not feel great. This doesn't feel like a super good start to Lurrus and companion slot if we cut these 3. I mean, Tutor Lurrus. Tutor the Lotus or something to go with them. I think we just take Lutri, right? I mean, it's just a free companion. It's just always in the companion slot. Even if we don't play red, we might as well put it there. Liliana's great in Reanimator. Make your opponent sack a creature, or you can have each player discard a card to discard your big 9-mana triplicate Titan and then reanimate that. We don't have any reanimation targets yet, but I feel like you only need 4 or 5, and they're a little easier to come by than like the really consistent outlets to let you discard them or put them in grave, like Liliana and Entomb. I'm gonna go Liliana here.
Something suspicious is going on, and for once it's not my fault.
This pack looks pretty bad. Loot is kind of insane if loot hits the board, but very specific with that really restricted mana cost. You just take Luis here and try not to play him. Wheel the Recurring Nightmare or the Burst Lightning. I mean, 2.5 of our cards are reanimation only. The rest could go into just like Rakdos. So we could Burst Lightning towards Rakdos. Reanimation too fun though. Wheel the Primus, so it is open as well. Could take Blood Crypt, but can also just be mono black reanimation currently. Could play any other color than red as well. Could take this Avacyn's Pilgrim and play Golgari and have like a backup plan of hard casting our reanimation targets if we take enough mana dorks and the like. But I like the idea of being completely open right now to any other color as our secondary, because reanimation does not have to be Golgari or anything. Yeah, no love dam. Take Sorin.
These banquets are so wasteful.
When people start screaming,
Takanuma's a nice last pick. Dark Confidant? Oh, there's a Mox here. Almost missed the Mox. Yeah, we just can't not take a Mox pretty much ever. Come on in, Mox Ruby. Scalding Tarn or Watery Grave for speculative mana fixing. Karsi Revenant just for a fine on-color creature. It doesn't really have any major inherent synergies or anything. I guess it plays well with our Sorin. And it's a fine card to have get milled or discarded to something. I think black's open enough, we probably wheel that, so it's better to speculate on fixing or speculate on just really efficient removal like Swords to Plowshares. I think we go Swords here. Virtue Persistence is an early removal spell that doubles as a 7-mana win condition, reanimating something every single turn. Busted card. But so is most of the pack. So is most of what's in the cube. Solitude for literally 0 mana interaction. Minsk and Boo for bajillion damage. Bone Crusher's a nice 2-for-1. Hierarch's great ramp. Just a beautiful pack all around. Vaultborn Tyrant and an Atraxa for reanimation targets. I think Atraxa is likely a tiny, tiny bit better. But I love that Vaultborn Tyrant sticks around if it gets destroyed instead of exiled. You get like a token copy of it. But the immediate impact of the Atraxa ETB is a little higher because you draw a bajillion cards. And take the Atraxa. There is a slight chance that we wheel one of these, seeing as we wheeled the Woodfall Primus as well. Which I don't know why I put in the sideboard. These are our reanimation targets. They are in the deck. Come on in, Reanimate. Reanimate is literally death for 1 less mana. So we take Reanimate over death. Archon of Cruelty. Beautiful. Beautiful addition. One of the better reanimation targets against aggressive strategies because they have to sack a creature and you get to gain 3 life off of enter and attack. So it's a really good one with Emperor Bones as well, because Emperor Bones gets double trigger off it. You get the enter trigger, and then you immediately get the attack trigger too. Bone Shards is great removal in Reanimator. You blow up whatever creature you need to blow up and discard your reanimation target. Unearth is not really much of a reanimation spell. It only reanimates mana value 3 or less stuff. Take the Bone Shards there. Collective Brutality is another good reanimator removal spell, because again, do whatever piece of interaction you want and escalate this by discarding a reanimation card. Reanimation targets, I should say. Dark Confidant's actually bad. here. I think I was thinking about Dark Confidant during the pick one towards like Rakdos or something, but it would just be awful in Reanimator because these high mana values. I'm not doing anything else here. I'll put it in the side. Okay, I'm definitely cutting Luis. I could still splash in swords. It would be cooler to be full mono black, but probably better to run a swords to plowshares. I'm gonna have to go check my phone after this. There's death for another reanimation target. Let's go. All right, my bet. I guess we timed out into taking a Sunfall over a Jace. Pretty relevant pick, so that's fine. I mean, if we play enough white, we could play a Sunfall. And we would never take the Jace, so actually, we would never play the Jace. So actually good stuff from the Arena auto-suggester. Okay. What do we got now? We have 3 reanimation targets. I'd like 4 or 5 ideally, so Grizzlebrand. Could also just Dark Ritual into turn 1, Entomb plus Reanimate, or turn 1, Entomb plus Death. Turn 1, Bone Shards plus... Well, actually, we can't Bone Shards without a legal target. Turn 1, Collective Defiance, Endurance. Or Endurance. Collective Defiance, Reanimate. I really don't think anybody else is doing Reanimator, so I'm going to take this Dark Ritual and hope to wheel Grizzlebrand. It's the funniest thing. And, like, worst case scenario, I think it's basically impossible that we won't get at least one other reanimation target in this pack, even if it isn't Grizzlebrand himself. Vamp Tutor as a more combo-y deck. Booster Tutor! That can't possibly be right in a Reanimator deck. It's a 15-card cube pack. Too bad. I'm playing it. I'm playing it. We finally got Booster Tutor. Exciting stuff. Voidwalker's funny because it's like hypocritical for our deck. If we play against Voidwalker, we cry ourselves to sleep. But like if we're in a mirror match, really, really good. It's very easy to cast for us. We're mono black. Could definitely use more interaction, and Grave Titan's not the craziest Reanimator target. So I don't mind Fatal Push or Inquisition here. Go for the Fatal Push. Now a cut down over Gargaroth. Pick 7. There's no black cards. They finally started getting taken. There's Unburial Rites for us. I don't think we play it. I think we have enough other reanimation cards, right? We have Reanimate, we have Death, we have Recurring Nightmare, we have Emperor Bones. We might still play it. I mean, obviously we're passing the Scrub land for it, which is a little awkward. Actually, I'll just take the Atali and make sure I have my 4th reanimation target, no matter how the draft goes from there. Somebody did take Grizzlebrand, so I'm pretty happy I took Atali then. No Unburial Rites, just get the 4th reanimation creature. Nothing here. Ooh, Wheel of Murder's cut. I don't hate that. I did say I was low on interaction. Our mana curve is really low in terms of stuff we're actually casting. Could probably be like a 15 lander or less. So we're on these 2 plus 13 more. So I just got 1 card and we've got a deck. 15 mana source deck. Sure. Oh, well, we got an Inquisition, so I guess we're cutting 2 cards. We have a very low amount of cheap creatures, so I could see Recurring Nightmare being the cut. But if we leave it in, we're definitely not cutting a creature. We have 5 cheap creatures to sack to Recurring Nightmare. So cut Recurring Nightmare or cuts. Want all this. Is it insane to go 14 lands here? I'm already on 14 lands. 12 swamp, 1 token, and 1 ruby. Guess Dark Ritual's the 15th? How many reanimation spells do I have without running Recurring Nightmare? We have Death, as well as Reanimate, as well as Emperor of Bones. I don't think I can cut Recurring. I mean, there's Virtue of Persistence as well, but we're never hitting 7 mana. If I'm running essentially 15 lands here. I think I have to leave Recurring Nightmare in here, even though it's our least consistent option. Maybe because we're running Collective Brutality and Inquisition of Kozilek, we can go ahead and ditch the Duress here. Probably more specific than those two. I mean, Collective Brutality is literally Duress for 2 mana, but we can discard a reanimation target to it, which is better for us. Yep, we'll just cut a Duress and let Recurring Nightmare take the wheel. Without further ado, let's just hop in the gameplay, see how far this one can take us. Here we are for game number 1. We have 2 different reanimation targets in our hand and no reanimator spell. But we have a cheap Sorin. The Sorin plus the life gain from Collective Brutality can flip them, or the life gain from Virtue can flip them. Lightstall Inquisitors are a rough one. Guess I just hit the swamp here because I don't have a 1-drop. Demi of the Silk Shoots. Oh boy. So I gotta go just removal here. Immediately. We have been stone rained. They've indicated a swamp.
This isn't even the good silverware.
What is that Sorin voice line? What is he on about? They just have a Teferi in hand? Okay, well the Teferi's not going to be good for me. I'll have a flipped Sorin, which is cool. So they cast Teferi and put Sorin back 3rd from the top is what's going to happen. Better get a food or just ping them for 3 at that point. Honestly, probably better just ping them at that point. Because they just go land, bounce Sorin. It's not like getting the food is going to let me have Sorin ping Teferi.
I won't hide from the world any longer.
Yep. I mean, I guess I could have gotten the food to like force their hand. That's a good draw. Primus Teferi away or just attracts in to draw a million. I mean, they're not going to have the Teferi bounce next turn. They're on land, perfect. So just reanimate attracts and draw a million. Swamp for the land. Tutor for the sorcery to get another reanimation spell. I've already got a reanimation target in Grave, so I don't need Entomb as the instant. Could still take. I could take Dark Ritual though to do it all in 1 turn. Sure. And then Delphi Voidwalker or Archon. It can't be Archon, right? Take Voidwalker. I could cast Ritual Tutor But my 1-mana reanimate is gone, so I wouldn't be able to reanimate something this turn off the ritual anyway. Alright.
Up the pace.
Draw 2, they need to find some really good interaction off of those 2 top decks, and they did not. And that is going to be 1-0 heading into game 2. You know, I could have gone Dark Ritual Liliana, that wouldn't have been terrible. Again, I would need 4 mana up on the next turn to reanimate somebody, because I need to tutor into my 2-mana reanimation spell and then also cast that. So then I'd have no guarantee of reanimating somebody the next turn, but it could be worth it. I don't know, Liliana did not seem that impactful on that board. They had no creatures to make us sack, and their cards in hand, they had plenty of lands to discard to the plus. It's like 1 card off from going insane. I just need to draw a reanimation target. I'm gonna keep it. Play Mox Ruby. I have the option of Dark Ritual, Takanuma. Try to mill a reanimation target in the top 3, and then cast Death next turn. Yeah, I mean, I can turn 2 Liliana regardless off of this Mox. These are not reanimation targets. Rough. Okay, I still just need to draw 1 reanimation target here, and I bone shards it into the grave. There it is. I mean, they have to have a permanent on board. If we're against a control deck, we're going to have a horrific time. Basically any game, but especially this hand. And that seems to be the case. There are Grixis with Spell Pierce and Fairy Mastermind. Counterspells are very, very good against the Reanimator decks. Tap out. You know you want to tap out for something. It's so tempting. Oh, well, that just untaps all those lands. What was I even excited about? This is hard control. Board wipe, removal spell, counterspell, and draw is all they have played. Yep, more card draw for more interaction. Pickup days. Yeah, we're getting fun policed hard. We virtue the Fairy Mastermind then. I can Bone Shards it and I have the mana to play around the days. I just can't death this turn as well. If I tried to death, they would daze it picking up their island. So now they just have mana for a hard counter if they have one. They go Shieldred. Okay. Shieldred's quite bad for me. I can't double spell here because then they can daze. And this Virtue can't kill Shieldred anyway. All I can get is Woodfall Primus. Woodfall Primus doesn't kill Shieldred. I mean, I could trade into Shieldred on blocks if they don't have removal. Guess I could reanimate their Fairy Mastermind. Wow, Reanimate is way better than Death. It's from either graveyard and 1 less mana. We really do just die to Shieldred here, sadly. I have never beaten Shieldred in this cube. She's been just incredible against every deck I've run. We had our Artifact deck, we tried to combo off drawing a bunch of cards, nope. Aggro deck, nope. And now this Reanimator deck, nope. Shieldred just seems sweet. There's Virtue, gain a little bit of life and pass. Can see it. Valky, exile my Archon. Sure. They get to 8 mana and they will annihilate me with that. Man, this Liliana would have been incredible. Because it seems like they really just had the Spell Pierce in the days for her. This has got to mean lethal somehow. Yep. Fallen Shinobi Ninjutsu will do that. Either way I block. Alright. Pretty bad matchup. That is what it's gonna be. We lose those games of rock, paper, scissors. We are 1-1 heading to game 3. Alright. Solid looking opener. Just need the reanimation spell for the Atraxa, but we can discard her to the bone shards. We have the Sorin Virtue combo to flip a Sorin. If that is not gonna be the path we take. But they've got Once Upon a Time. So they could be a green deck with some cheap creatures to throw bone shards at. Uh-oh. Land Crow Mox. Get green off of that with Pest Infestation. Cast Deep Cavern Bat, and I guess it doesn't matter what they hit, because we just blow up the bat. I would be terrified if they hit Inquisition here. They probably hit Atraxa, because then I don't get Atraxa back to hand till after Virtuing the bat. See, yeah, that's what I was terrified of. If they hit Inquisition here, it means they have a really good cheap play for next turn, and I can't do anything about that because they exiled my Inquisition. So let's see what that is. What were they protecting from the Inquisition here? Okay. Do we cast or we cast? We gotta cast Inquisition first because we just have Counterspell. Nice. We Inquisitioned them and made them pay 2 for it. Demonic plus Reanimate on any turn, so I think we save that for after playing all these other threats that are also like must be killed threats. Like, if all this stuff resolves, then I'm happy to just go for it with 2 to reanimate, but I don't want to just go blind there, because we haven't seen their hand. And they are heavy blue. It's Bitter Triumph. 1 blue mana up now? So it needs to be like Force of Will or Force of Negation at this point. Go for it at that point, or still just play Sorin? I want to play the Sorin. Okay, I should have gone for it.
Only the best for House Markov.
Frantic search. They are searching frantically for like a Thoughtseize or something. Uh-oh. Discard Woodfall Primus and something else. Play their own Reanimate. Polluted Delta pass. Now they got a bunch of blue mana up. Don't do it to me. I'm tempted to hit their Woodfall Primus because it's really funny, but I really should hit Atraxa. Okay, Atraxa hits, we draw a billion. This is the one artifact. Okay, they scoop. They scoop. Fair enough. That'll be 2-1 now, heading into game 4. Here we are on the draw for game 1. Game 1. What happened to my brain there? Here we are on the draw for whatever game this is. I've got the Fatal Push up, which is good against red, and if we don't need a Fatal Push, we Vampiric Tutor into... I mean, we've got the Recurring Nightmare for the Archon and the Liliana to discard it. So what do I hit with this Vampiric? Just get Dark Ritual Liliana. I can Liliana holding up a Fatal Push. I mean, I have to find a creature to sack to Recurring Nightmare for that to count as a way to reanimate the Archon. So I'm a little tempted to take an alternate sacrificable creature. Or an alternate way to reanimate. Either way. I'll just grab an alternate way to reanimate. We'll take literal reanimate here. I do have to top deck the land for Liliana and Nightmare. So maybe it was just like take the Mox here. Or take land for turn. Of all things, just Vampiric Tutor for Swamp, baby. Booster Tutor for cut down. That does almost nothing against our deck. But it could kill Sorin or Voidwalker. We got like 4 creatures it can kill, I think. Thank you for auto-stopping there. Oh, I can't Fatal Push that. This is not cut down. I saw their cut down and thought mine was cut down, and it's not. I can't kill Rabble Master. That's rough. Alright, well, we kill with Virtue next turn then. But they get to keep this token, because I'm not going to Fatal Push a 1/1 Goblin. No, it's not the land. That moment when you were supposed to Vampiric Tutor for a land. Embarrassing. Emperor Bones, that thing is deader than dead. No thank you. I get a Goblin to sack to Recurring Nightmare by doing this. Even if they cut down. Burst Lightning and still have cut down. Big yikes.
No more distractions. Let's make this quick. Drop it.
God, I am praying they tap out a cut down here. Or discard it, that works too.
You picked a fight with the wrong necromancer.
Well, they sequenced that wrong. If they played Emperor Bones pre-combat to exile my Archon, we'd have no shot this game. but they missed the combat exile. So I don't have a great chance because they can get a Rabble Master against me, but they can't get our Archon now. Dark Ritual off the top. Come on. Big money, Archon. Big money. No whammies. Just a swamp off the top. Carnage Interpreter ditched their hand, which includes nothing for Emperor of Bones, but they can still Emperor Bones the Rabble Master back. So I'm going to do that instead. That would be post-combat trigger if they do it this turn, though. So they're probably cracking a clue. Exiling my Liliana just cuz, I guess. It's fair enough. We have shown that we have some kinds of graveyard reanimation, but we can't do anything with planeswalkers in our grave. I feel like they probably can't attack here because then I attack back with Archon without worrying about it dying. Okay. Revenant trades into Archon, and then I Recurring Nightmare it back, sacking the Voidwalker. Let's play Voidwalker so that their Revenant goes into their grave. They sack the Emperor of Bones. Nice. Or their Revenant goes into exile instead of their grave. Keep misspeaking. Here's the trade, but Revenant is exiled. Now they just have Interpreter and a bunch of clues. And here's Recurring Nightmare. Get rid of the Interpreter, and they just have a bunch of clues. Good stuff. Got Concealing Curtains to sack to Recurring Nightmare and Tomb to put anybody in grave. So even if they get through the Archon, we've got a firm lead on this game. Did I find lethal this turn? Maybe? Probably not. None of these have haste. Kind of just get an Atraxa. If I get Emperor of Bones, I can haste something. We're at 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. 5 more damage is lethal. So if I pick their Carnage Interpreter up, I lethal. Yeah, they just concede because I'm thinking too long, but I'm trying to find out how we get lethal here, so no matter what they top deck, we're fine. And the way to get lethal is to reanimate their Carnage Interpreter with haste, which means putting our Emperor of Bones into our grave. Then, after that, Demonic Tutoring for Reanimate. So that's 2 mana. And then 1 mana to reanimate. I now have an Emperor Bones up with 2 mana up. Use Emperor Bones to exile Interpreter. Use the 2 mana to haste that out. I attack with a 5/5 and a 6/6 and make them lose another 3. So that's 11 damage from combat and 3 from Archon of Cruelty's attack trigger. That's exact lethal. Good stuff from the Reanimator deck again. not played out well. The turn 1 Vampiric Tutor was almost certainly for the wrong card, but we still get there in the end. We are 3-1 heading into game number 5. Here we are on the draw for game number 5. This is just a fully interactive hand. Not really doing any combo-y stuff. Guess we're leaving Dark Ritual for Virtue of Persistence here. Playing against Boros. It's a reasonable hand against Boros. Boop the Engineer. Could have Edicted, because then it'd be easier to play Revenant and still hold up the Edict, but... Play Revenant and hold up Fatal Push would be a closer play if I did Edict first. Hasty Creature. I'll take 3, but I'll gain 3 back. And then kill that. With Virtue holding up Edicts. Kill it with Virtue, hold up Edicts. This life gain is rough for Boros, I gotta say. We're gonna have 4 5s. We're gonna have exactly enough to cast Virtue next turn. Doesn't activate till our upkeep though. But it does pick creatures from either graveyard, so we can just start reanimating all their little stuff that we killed. I hope they don't have like Lauren, one of the main deckable enchantment removal spells. I'm gonna double check my math here. This would be awful to Dark Ritual for nothing. Dark Ritual, that's 3, 6, yeah, that's 7. I'm not getting Broadside Bombardiers. Oh, it's only creatures or artifacts. It can't sack enchantments. So close. I was thinking maybe I could take their Bombardiers and fling a Virtue at them for 9. Would be really cute. Mox Ruby's like actually the truth here. The Mox Ruby to go with their Draconautics Engineer. Flage feels pretty bad against Virtue, which I'm a fan of. Okay, I think I take the Engineer and just get 2 creatures here. Tali's the draw. I'm not gonna Bone Shards my own creature just to get a Tali engrave. Ah, the Witch Enchanter for Virtue. Good work. Good work. Five cards in grave. I'll still have 4 in grave after using Revenant. If I am in Murderous Cut Desperation mode. And I don't need to keep anything in grave because the Atali is the Reanimator target. If we draw something, we just ditch Atali and then reanimate it. Voidwalker really shutting off Flage here. Oh, it's 5 other cards, so I guess they The Voidwalkers was one turn too late to stop Flage. Tragedy. Exile 2 cards to do this. Exile the Flage instead of putting it in their grave, because we're killing it while Voidwalker's on the board. And they are still dead in the sky. Let's see. Swords or path here. Buy them one more turn. Basically, yep. Free swords to plowshares. But it just buys them one more turn. Primus was a very bad draw. Just the second Reanimator card. Okay. No, they hit the double in a row. The Ademi, and this is a sorcery. Oh my god. Got a lot of life to get there. Found the Bone Shards target. Ayo, we got there. None of these actually have haste, so we actually are just doing a Tali. Fiery Confluence. Be 6 to face, not enough to finish us off. We get there with a Tali Trample. They could do 1 damage to everybody and 4 to our face, kill the Mother of Runes here. Or they could kill Mother of Runes and Mox Ruby and do 2 to our face. Not an instant though, so they can't like block and then do extra damage to a Tali. Alright, there's the concession from our opponents. That is like 4-1 now. Positive record out of this mono black Reanimator deck no matter what happens. Pretty cool stuff. We're on the draw, but we have turn 2, essentially turn 3, Entomb Reanimate. Unfortunately, we're against the blue deck again. This, I think, would be almost an auto win against like Boros or green, but they could just have Counterspell up. Now, off of Expressive Iteration, they cannot. But they could have a way to bounce whatever we reanimate here. They could have Force of Will, Force Negation. Those are the outs. Or Moxes, Soul Rings. Black Lotus, anything like that to give them the counterspell mana. I mean, they've got something for 0. They're just choosing whether or not to play it here. Bobble. Okay. Yeah, look at my top card. Here's a new top card you weren't expecting at all. What should have been Reanimate already? Primus? I think we Primus. No! Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll have to just dodge blue players next game. Oh, they do have the Soul Ring. That is gnarly with Steel Cutter. Make it really easy to double spell with all that extra mana. So now we just get shredded by a Steel Cutter slowly. Over time. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Gotta be Steel Cutter at this point. They got that Soul Ring mana too. Spell Bomb. The Unsummon. Rude. Sure. 1-for-1 removal on curtains. They got one card in hand. We got 2 removal spells. But we gotta draw real well from here. Okay, Lion's Eye Diamond is terrifying. Because if they draw into like Underworld Breach, that's bajillions of mana. Final card, a counterspell to try to keep this one creature around. It's a full-on top deck war. I've got a removal spell for their first threat as my first top deck, and we'll see what they've got. Land. Demonic Tutor. Hello. What do I even tutor for right now, though? Emperor Bones? Like the quickest damage we can get, because I'm not going to have my card in grave. Demonic Tutor for booster tutor. I don't think we take a reanimation spell. Because they don't have anything to reanimate right now. Just take the best aggressive threat we can. Liliana wouldn't be terrible. Liliana or Emperor Bones, I think. I'm gonna take the Emperor Bones. Play around the counterspell by playing it now. Or play around removal by playing it next turn. I feel like all the removal is going to be instant speed. I should have played this main phase 1 and gotten an exile out of it. Okay. Their top deck land prevents flood. Can sack itself to draw a card. Dark Ritual. Let's not do what I want it to. I guess I'm just really attacking with a 4/4 Emperor, because sure, I can haste out the curtains, but then I just flip it main phase 2 and then it dies. I still think Emperor was like a reasonable tutor, because that way we have like the reanimation spell, but also a threat that chips in for damage for a while. Kind of dual purpose. Another reanimation spell. Just not what I need. I need the outlet to discard. Start ripping away their graveyard so that any Underworld Breach they draw into is worse. Okay, I mean, now that I have Recurring Nightmare, I should probably just poke them with the eye here. Because if I draw the way to discard this Primus, I have the Recurring Nightmare as well. No, you can keep a Moxjet. They are flooding over there, hitting lands and mana rocks.
These banquets are so wasteful.
More lands from opponent, and that's lethal. That is 5-1, heading into game number 7. All right, here we are for game number 7, 5-1 right now. I enjoy this opening hand, but it isn't actually recurring any nightmares. Just kind of chilling with the Voidwalker. I don't think I'd ritual into the Voidwalker. Just play it on 2. I guess I could if I expect that they're Reanimator, but there's really no way to know on their turn 0. Ritual could still be important if we top deck like a Demonic Tutor or something. Getting the mana to play the Tutor and like the Entomb that it searches for. So that I could have the thing engraved ready for Nightmare later. Something like that. White deck from our opponent. Well, that can't be good. Turn 1 Black Lotus. Screaming Nemesis, turn 1. Might just Ritual Edict here, honestly. Buy some time. Currency Converter is the play. Does Voidwalker counter that? I'm not sure. Maybe I'm supposed to Demonic Tutor here. Even if I tutor into Entomb, I won't be able to reanimate something next turn though. So I can tutor on turn 3, and then turn 4 Entomb and Recurring Nightmare. So let's just play the Voidwalker and see if that counters Converter. I think it does. I think Voidwalker's Exile supersedes Currency Converters. But the Converter still draws and discards a card every turn, which is still good. Revenant. Tempted to just play that against Boros. That life gain's huge. Alright, they're gonna Swords that before they try to do any Currency Converter stuff. Well, now I know they're down to Swords. But even if I tutor for Entomb, I don't have a creature out to sack to Recurring Nightmare, so I wouldn't be reanimated next turn anyway, so we'll play the Revenant. Fear of missing out. Still have more cards in hand, so they actually do have to fully discard a card, draw a card there. So that's a rough one for them. They do get the 2/2 out of the Currency Converter, though, for free, because they got it off a Fear of Missing Out trigger. I'm tempted to tutor for the Bone Lord again and start exiling their graveyard to prevent Fear of Missing Out from doing anything. Because it's so bad if I tutor for Entomb and they just kill Revenant, because then it's like I can't Recurring Nightmare and I'm a very creature light deck. I'm just gonna tutor for Emperor Bones. This is weird, but that's what I'm gonna do. Actually, tutor for Sorin would have been pretty sick there too. We just kill Fear Missing Out. That might have been better. Probably should have tutored for Sorin. Yeah, tutor for Sorin, gain 3, Sorin -3 the Fear Missing Out. That would have been awesome. Although then the 2/2 would kill Sorin, would it not? I don't remember how much loyalty Sorin would have after a -1. So it's close. Sorin would have exactly 2 loyalty after minusing 1. So yeah, they could kill Sorin with the 2/2 if I went for that line. They got the Fear of Missing Out. Regardless, off of the Elegant Parlor Surveil. But it is because I chose a creature. Because they had another creature with currency converter to put in the grave anyway. But I chose the creature because then I know I can get something out of Emperor if they don't kill him exactly this turn. I can get at least a little bit of value off Emperor. We take 6 here because Fear Missing Out has Delirium. Which is fine. Still got lifelink. I mean, honestly think I'm just out racing the Boros here. It's a sorcery speed only anyway, but it is good with Emperor Bones' ability. Jam. I feel like artifacts would be the hardest for them to get in grave. Currency converter could get them anything in grave, but knowing that they're a Boros deck means I think it's going to be mostly creatures, lands, few instant sorceries. You Flage, you're gross. When I do get to make sure Flage never comes back again, but still the Lightning Helix alone was very good there. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters specifically are placed, and this doesn't place +1/+1 counters, sadly. We draw a Reanimator target, we discard it to Bone Shards. I mean, flying lifelinking Emperor feels like the line. Rather than like attack with Emperor and then swap it out with Revenant. Wait a second. Recurring Nightmare does so much more than I think it does. If I sack the Emperor to bring back the Revenant, I put the Recurring Nightmare back in my hand, play it, I can sack the Revenant to bring back the Emperor, and I can put counters on Emperor again in the future. If I attack, Mother of Runes just blocks. If I don't put Revenant counters on Emperor, it just blocks and gets pro-black. If I go for Recurring Nightmare loops to Flage, like anything, they just protect it anyway, but feels really strong over time. So close between revving the Emperor or going for Recurring Nightmare loop. I'm gonna Recurring Nightmare loop. And I can Flage their face. Don't get any haste attacks with it or anything anyway. I guess I should still do it while they're tapped out. So they don't like top deck Lightning Bolt or something to counter it. This feels like just putting lifelink on Emperor Bones with another hoop. Oh, it gets a finality counter. Okay, then it is better. Because then the Flage is gone, for sure. Okay. It's one less damage, but this way we know Flage is gone forever. Pass through, we draw a land. I can discard that to Bone Shards at worst, but again, against Emperor of, or Mother of Runes, that doesn't do much. And get their Adeline here for a turn. Doesn't seem all that good. Just block with protection from white and then have a 2/2 block the 1/1 so that doesn't do anything. I don't think we Recurring Nightmare this turn. Let's just put it on the board and pass. Or do I go Revenant? Kind of all in. I think I go Revenant. They have one turn to draw away to stop Emperor. Okay. There's the concession from our opponent. They could not find a way to kill the 4/4 flying Death Touch lifelink. I feel like I overcomplicated that a little bit. But it is like questionable if it's better to like get the Flage exiled from grave and hit them for one less, or if it was better to just give that Emperor the flying Death Touch lifelink earlier. Recurring Nightmare Emperor of Bones loop is not something I was considering at all, but that could actually do something if we had like enough creatures in our grave to like loop the Emperor, make the copy, sack the copy to like Recurring Nightmare later. There's a lot of little things that we could do with those two cards together that I'm just starting to slightly realize. So almost definitely played that wrong there, but I think we got just about as much damage as we would have either way. And that is going to be our 6th win. We are 6-1 heading into the final battle with 2 rounds in the chamber. All right, well, we're on the draw, but in theory we have turn 2 death. Turn 2 reanimate on anything we want to entomb. This would be dream hand on the play. We just go swamp, pass, entomb in their end step. Mox death. But still definitely a keep on the draw. No, they're a blue deck. Why is it always blue? Playing the Moxer because they have a blue Triumph, so I want to have Daze mana up for Entomb. Oh, untapped blue mana. Untapped blue mana. So rude. Archon or Primus or Atraxa. I don't think death is gonna resolve. So probably don't need to think about this too much. Go Archon because it's the most relevant later. So like if I think that death isn't gonna resolve, then I think the pick is just Archon. Because then if death gets countered, I have a better reanimation target later in the game. Well, shoot. I guess I should have taken Primus or Atraxa then. Because those are higher immediate impact. Right, Archon's better impact later once they have like blockers out. Being able to shred those or attackers out. What on earth? Not expecting that in the slightest. Surveilling into and out. Trying to. Maybe they have a way to kill it when it attacks at least. Liliana +1s are going to be good here once they're tapped out. My god. So Archon has drawn us 2 and discarded them 2. Put them down to 7. Here's a Liliana. Rip more of their hand away.
Happy to help.
Now I've got Natali in the grave for this recurring nightmare. We could even sack Curtains to it instead of Archon. Caracas can't bounce Archon. Archon is a legend, so they have to Demonic Tutor for an out to the Archon. Have to Demonic Tutor for like Swords to Plowshares here. Oh, or Flash World Spine Worm. Wait, that's not haste though. They basically just conceded by choosing to Demonic Tutor for Flash or World Spine Worm when they could have Demonic. I highly doubt there wasn't at least like 1 2-mana exile spell in there. Maybe they drafted like literally no interaction, but they had Bolt. They probably had like Swords or Path or something. Yeah, tutor for Flash or Tutor for World Spine was like cool, but it basically just conceding against the Archon because that's just lethal. All right, well, we take those. The blue matchup, again, the scariest, probably worst matchup for us because it's like, I mean, we have some cards that are really good against blue. Like if we resolve a Liliana against a blue deck, that's very, very, very nice. But our deck is like a combo deck. It's a Reanimator deck where there's like, we play multiple things towards trying to resolve one thing. And if they just have that counterspell for that moment, the stack of cards falls down and we just sit there and stare at them until they beat us or until we top deck really luckily into another way to try again. So I was terrified of those blue matchups. Our only loss was a blue deck that just kind of countered our stuff. Very surprised. We saw so many blue sources from that opponent, but just no counter spells in their hand there. Rough draws for them apparently, and that's going to give us the 7-1 off a very fun deck. I don't think this deck was that great. I don't think this deck's like a super consistent 7 winner, but it's the Reanimator deck with a little bit of everything you need. We've got the 4 reanimation targets, and we've got the 4 ways to reanimate them, some a lot easier to play than the others. Obviously, the 7-mana reanimation card is quite expensive, but you know. I guess if you count the 7-mana reanimator card, we have 5 ways to reanimate. We have Reanimate, Death, Recurring Nightmare, and Emperor of Bones adapting as the more consistent ways to reanimate, but even some of those, like Recurring Nightmare and Emperor Bones, aren't that consistent, because if they have a bolt up when we try to activate Emperor, they can kill it and counter the reanimation, and if we don't draw one of our other very few creatures, the Recurring Nightmare can't reanimate either, so not the most consistent Reanimator deck, considering some of those little flaws there. But when it comes to, like, tutors, having the Entomb and Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor was sweet. When it came to interaction, we were doing decent by, like, Reanimator deck standards, having Edict cut down, Fatal Push, Inquisition, and Collective Brutality. Even Liliana could sack a creature. Murderous Cut works too. So decent amount of interaction for a combo deck like this. And just enough reanimation targets and reanimation spells to get some cheese victories, and we certainly did, getting that 7-win run. But again, as I was saying, I think we landed on the luckier end of the spectrum this time around. I would not expect this to consistently be a 7-winner, probably more at that 4-3 range, and we ran pretty hot today to get the 7-win run with it. But I'll take it. That's our first full trophy run. We've got a lot of 5 and 6 win runs behind us, some 4 wins, but here we go. We've broken that glass ceiling there, and now we're at the 7-win full trophy run with mono black Reanimator. Fun stuff for today's cube. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.